Another reaction video. It says Dkane, TikTok star to child. Yeah. Let's see what this video is talking about.
Exaggerated image of yourself online. Very few people have done it as egregiously as Dkane. Over the course of just a few months, he went from being a successful TikToker to being relentlessly ridiculed for pretending to be a member of MS-13, and finally to being exposed and eventually arrested for possession of illegal material involving minors. Dkane's online presence was infamous from the get-go, as his main claim to fame, if we can even call it that, is being the definition of an Edgar. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, and honestly, neither was I up until this video's research, an Edgar is shorthand for Hispanic e-boys, trademarked by this one abominable haircut where their hair is lined up despite being straight and grown out. Now look, I know I shouldn't be talking about anybody's haircuts as my reputation clearly precedes me in that field, but regardless, Edgars have become notorious in the Latin American world, and consequently in American border states, for being basically Latino lightskins. But if being a stereotype wasn't enough for him, he was actually copying someone else who also fits that same mold. Pr3dator, another Edgar TikToker who was way bigger than Dkane would ever become. Seeing how much attention Ricky got, especially from girls, Dkane started to do everything in his power to mimic him, and pretty soon after came the highly questionable thirst traps.
My right now, I'm playing with it a little bit.
For the sake of making money on this video, let's just say that the audio was talking about churros. But it was that one miserable post that began the TikTok career of Dkane. Although I should note that his real name is Josiah Kane de la Fuente, which court records later reveal. I've often seen him attached to the name Dustin Kane Morris, which is actually the name of the brother of streamer Soda Poppin', who happens to also go by Dkane online. But for the sake of not creating any confusion, from now on, I'll just refer to the video's topic Dkane as Josiah. Long before 2023, it was very clear that Josiah's objective was always to be attractive to TikTok girls. But like the bane of middle schooler Riz, no one cared who he was until he put on the Edgar. This may or may not have had to do with the fact that despite being 22 years old at the time of his first post in 2023, Mr. Tip Real Creamy here stood at a whopping Godzilla-like, megalophobia-inducing 5'1". There's some controversy about this information since he occasionally says he's 3 years younger and 5'3", and purposely puts his hair up so he'd look taller. But again, court documents show him being listed at just 5'1" and being born in 2001. So I'm inclined to accept that figure as the real one. Without a doubt, the persona he put on was successful, as all of his early uploads have millions of views. But even at this point, Josiah was doing extremely questionable stuff. For example, in October 2023, he made a post to TikTok advertising his Twitter. Why is that questionable, you may ask? Well, on his Twitter, he had recently put up a video of himself engaging in intercourse with a girl. However, I absolutely strongly advise anyone watching this to not look it up because given his later arrests and convictions, it's possible that either the girl in the video is a minor or that the video was uploaded without her consent. Whatever the case is, it was another sign that Josiah was willing to do anything for clout with random TikTok girls. But the thing is, that immediately came at a cost. One of the few things people immediately picked up on was his tendency to present himself as a criminal, to the point of having the number 13 tattooed on his face. The idea behind this being to signal that he's a member of MS-13, a highly dangerous gang of which Josiah was absolutely not a part of, but he was more than willing to pretend he was for clout. 1 month into his TikTok notoriety, he already looked like he was facing the consequences of his actions, as in late November 2023, he randomly showed up with a black eye, and in late January of 2024, it happened again. Now, if you were an impressionable teenager, you could just assume that he got into fights, but the truth was much darker and more pathetic than you could ever imagine. Eventually, an actual lawyer got to looking at his case files and discovered part of the truth.
Assault with a deadly weapon. This was back on November 2023. He was out on bond. Let's see when his next hearings are. Oh, today, the 28th. He's got one. Wait, he's in court tomorrow? He's got jury trial tomorrow? jury trial tomorrow.
As you can imagine, the average TikTok viewer isn't interested or capable enough to figure out how to access court records, so for the time being, no one was any wiser, and he continued to make a name for himself well into 2024, although his emphasis slowly switched from conventional posts to TikTok lives. The first big hurdle he had to face was with people taking issue with him being a copy of Murder Ricky. People were already turning on Josiah and becoming impatient with his antics. For example, he made this one post where he purposely added a bunch of typos to, I guess, make himself sound like more of a gangster, I guess. You leave me after I fought for you in everything that we had. The comments are appropriately making fun of him for it. For real, how could she do that? Yeah, I remember that time when he lured me. Yeah, I was so that he left me. I love him so much, bruh. He also made a post with a picture of what looks to be a court filing with his mugshot on it, although I haven't been able to find anything about an arrest from June 2024. This leads me to think that he either staged this and took his own Riz mugshot, or this is from when he got arrested on a DV charge, which may explain why he blacked everything out on the document so that no one would find out what he got processed for. In the same month he made this post, he reached a milestone in his TikTok streamer career. He started frequently taking part in the stream of Lalo Gone Brazy, a staple of this general community. This was super successful because up until this point, most of Josiah's comment sections were just flooded with thirsty girls who had fallen for the Edgar trance. And even when there were people calling him out, they were buried underneath mountains of positive posts. Lalo, however, gave a voice to everyone who found Josiah ridiculous, and he actually made some pretty good content out of it.
Because those tattoos, I feel like it's just betraying the image that you're really not.
If you saw me in real life, what would you do?
I'll probably laugh.
Exactly. You wouldn't touch me, bro.
I'll probably walk up to you and try to like pet you, you know, like you are the comedy, but you can't do comedy. Like, you understand what that means?
Does that make sense to y'all? Why would I rub salmonella?
Nigga, like you about to start rapping or what? Summer, like what? I thought bro's about to start freestyle. I was about to like I was gonna provide you the beat.
You're kind of lucky I'm even talking to you right now. Usually I pay people to talk to me.
Did you just hear what he said? He said usually I pay people to talk to me.
It's also in this stream that one of the most memorable catchphrases was solidified.
Yeah, bro has a whole drawer of caterpillars. He's like, let me throw these on today.
I'm confuzzled.
Bro, you heard him. I'm trying to build a puzzle.
But what's way more concerning is that we also see a recurrent behavior of Josiah's show up. His very strange, evasive behavior when the topic of age came up.
Me, I'm 24.
For sure.
Yeah, how old are you?
I don't know, Boomer.
Even at the time, this demeanor Josiah puts on whenever the topic of his age comes up is a bit of a red flag. I mean, on Twitter, there's been a massive part of the user base, many of whom are commission artists, who will label themselves as older than 18 and have minors don't interact in their bio to avoid any potential confusion. Obviously, just because you don't have that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, but despite knowing what kind of person is watching his TikToks, he goes out of his way to keep his age a mystery. Following their first encounter, Lalo and Josiah went on to have a lot of online interactions, which produced even more clips that went viral.
What's going on, LeBron? What's down, LeBron?
True like that if you were with Chris. That's a good boy. Yeah.
Whenever Lalo wasn't targeting his forced mispronunciations and his clearly penciled in eyebrows, pretty much any of Josiah's self-presentation was fair game, because all of it looked fake and performative.
Y'all pick for me. What should I smell like right now? Y'all let me know.
Ain't no way bro could only afford samples.
Samples.
Hey, bro trying to say it all confident. Let me know what I should smell like. There's samples.
No way.
But despite there being some degree of animosity between them, neither of them appeared to really take it seriously. If this was the ultimate consequence of his fake persona, Josiah had it pretty good, as these streams were helping his online presence grow as well. The problem is, even if Lalo treated it like an act, Josiah did not. And a couple of weeks later, things got a bit dire for him. While we have two different recordings from different angles of this event, we don't actually have footage of what it was about. They took Josiah's chain from his neck. Unsurprisingly, he didn't do anything about it, although he said it was because he was on an ankle monitor and didn't want to violate his probation. And later on, he started telling a tall tale about how, after they stopped recording, he made the guy run laps around the mall in fear of what he may do. This was a far cry from the hardened gang member he tried to pretend he was on TikTok. So of course, the mockery from this point onward went up a notch.
We were walking. Kids are dressed in pajamas, and you got pressed by kids that just woke up in pajamas. Bro, tú también, you're a clown, bro. Ain't no way bro got pressed with kids that's wearing pajamas. Bro, todo menso. I don't even know why you go to the mall by yourself, knowing after I gave you all this clout, you're gonna go out in public by yourself? Do you understand? Now you're not a regular kid like you were before I met you. Now you're somebody popping. Now you're like me. And you want to go out in public by yourself? Obviously, you're going to get your little chain snap, bro. You're 3'2". You're a little baby. What are you going to do? Nothing. Or do you want your chain to get snatched again? Next, they might take your caterpillars. You got it.
Josiah being fraud checked marked the beginning of a steep decline of his already weak reputation. And the next person to highlight it was rapper Lefty Gunplay, who joined one of these streamers to talk to him.
Where you at, Texas?
Yo,
Were you a 13? You sureño?
you know what I'm saying?
Are you
1-3.
sureño or not?
Is that 1-3 life?
Where you from?
Why you asking where I'm from?
Hey, where you from? What gang? Where at? What city?
I'm from Salvador.
You from El Salvador?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. What gang are you from?
We're not doing this on TikTok.
Man, where you... Dog, bang your shit.
We're not doing this on TikTok.
I'm from King Salvador, 13. Bowen Park. Where are you from?
I'm a good boy.
You're gay. That's just...
The thing is, unlike most people who made fun of Josiah for pretending to be a gangster, Lefty was actually gang affiliated. More and more, Josiah found himself engaging with people who actually were what he was pretending to be. And he'd already gotten in at least one real-life altercation over it, so his future wasn't exactly looking bright. Even Lalo got concerned about it.
Bro, and honestly, Dkane, when Lefty was telling you all that stuff, like, hey, where you from? You're like, bro, you know what it is. I got that 1 and that 3. You know what it, bro. Dkane, I promise you, Dkane, I'm not saying this in a bad way. You are not a member. Bro, honestly, all of that, they do not know who you are. So the moment you come impersonating something that you ain't, it's over for you, bro. I'm trying to put you on the right path, bro. I'm not hating on you.
For the time being, it seems that the realization of how people really saw him set in, and Josiah leaned into the less self-serious aspects of his online presence.
Okay, hubby bubby, give me a kiss.
You give me a kiss.
Where do you want it?
You know where I want it.
Oh, wrong line right now. Okay, DK, you're making me blush. I'm gonna go, okay?
Alright, I love you.
Okay, I love you too.
What the fuck?
Wow, it looks like Lefty was right. This guy's gay. In late July 2024, Josiah gave an interview to Junior Stuber, and some interesting things were said. After reiterating the claims that he's from El Salvador and that he's 5'8", Josiah suggests that his girlfriend at the time is pregnant, not by accident, but instead because Josiah specifically wanted to have a girl, hoping one day he'd have up to 4 kids. Again, while this seems harmless at the time, it takes on a much darker meaning later on. However, it doesn't seem like his girl was really pregnant at this time anyway, so this was probably just another one of the many lies he randomly tells for clout. Further into the video, Josiah claims he never even finished high school, dropping out in the 6th grade, which really explains a lot of what we've seen so far. Ultimately, despite constantly talking about how much his baby mama is the only thing that matters to him, and how he's not interested in any other women in the interview, his new family man act was pretty short-lived. On the 20th of August, a TikToker by the name of Poncho Does It Better made a post regarding serious allegations surrounding Josiah.
So this is where Dkane reaches out to the girl. The white toe is doing it for me. Vids of them, need the vids right now. And then the girl said, just to prove his baby mama wasn't lying. He was desperate for those damn pata pics. Sheesh Louise. And then right here, she sent the screen recording so you guys know it's legit. Clicks on the profile. There you go. And then I asked if there was more. She said, I don't. This guy just reacted to my story out of nowhere. I didn't even know who he was at the time. I'm 61 backwards, by the way. He likes brrr.
On their own, these look pretty bad. To go out of your way to conceal your real age is one thing, but to go around online telling girls that their white toes are doing it for you without asking their age, I mean, that is another level. But it actually gets worse.
And then this other quinceañera reached out to me, and DK had told that girl that he was 71 backwards. So here's another message of DK lying about his age. The girl told him that she's a quinceañera, and then he said, oh, all right, I'm a 71 backwards. And then she says, oh, I thought you were like 19 or something, but what you doing today? So the girl who sent me those screenshots was allegedly his ex, but I can agree, DK is a brr because I'm a freshman. DK told me he was 71 backwards and was fine to be with me, but we never became public about our relationship online because he didn't want to. I also have messages to prove that we were together in the past.
Lying about his age to pretend to be a minor. Classic groomer predator move. So far, there's 2 different minors who provided evidence of Josiah sending them DMs, and although it is damning enough, it can't hold a candle to an interview Pancho got with Josiah's actual ex.
So let me just do an introduction to you for everybody here that's kind of new. Everybody, this is Dkane, Mr. Confuzzle's ex.
Hey guys, I literally asked him how old he was, and he was like, go look at my famous birthday. So I did, and then it said 20. I was like, you're 20. Oh, I was like, oh, I'm 16. He was like, okay, that doesn't matter.
Wow.
As long as we don't tell anybody, you're gonna be an adult anyway. So I think that's what he said.
So in other words, he pre-ordered you.
Sure.
If it wasn't clear here, instead of just saying his age, Josiah told her to look at his famous birthdays page, which has the wrong year. In reality, he was 3 years older, and the situation immediately got worse.
So you started dating him, whatever the case is, and then when did it start turning ugly? Like, how did you guys, you're the one that allegedly was pregnant by him?
Yes, actually.
So you were embarazada by him?
Yeah.
Okay. So then, if you don't mind me asking, let's get serious here. If you don't mind me asking, what ended up happening?
How do I put it? He's psycho. He's a midget that's psycho. He beats not only on females, he beats on his grandparents actually too.
Whoa.
His grandma.
The abuelitos?
Yeah, those charges. He says, "Oh, look at my charges." 2 of those charges are from his grandma and his grandpa for stabbing them.
What?
Okay. Yeah, y'all know.
Remember those charges the lawyer was looking at earlier? Those same charges that he flaunts all the time to prove he's a real criminal? Well, they actually come from this guy trying to slime both of his grandparents out with a butter knife. Who in their right mind is going life or death with geriatrics? Apparently, copying Murder Ricky was not enough for Josiah, so he went for more of a Jake Paul approach to being an influencer. Once he had cleared out the geriatric division, he moved up to fighting a much more threatening opponent. His girlfriends.
Is that why he has the ankle monitor? Is that for that reason, or is there another reason?
That's actually a reason. That's another reason. It's because that's also one of the reasons. But he, his ex-girlfriend, the one that's on his Twitter, something, she had kicked him out one day, and he went outside. I don't even believe it's true. He went outside. He thought this girl was her, but he just said he got kicked out by her. He thought it was her, and then he was trying to talk to her, and then she was like, something with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend came out of nowhere with the bat, and Dkane pulled out a knife and stabbed the guy in the school. And that black guy wasn't because he got in a fire or anything. It's because he got hit with a metal bat in the back of the head.
Damn. Wait, so I'll ask this at the end, but okay, so then he was abusive to you allegedly on this account?
Yes. It got bad. It got bad, but it wasn't like, oh, I was letting him beat me. I was also, being defensive.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna let no man beat me.
Yeah.
But yes, it got to the point where we got in this one big argument, and he got.
What you mean? That's you being defensive because you not with a man beating you. I mean, duh. But you go back with them? Like, make it make sense.
Got mad. He actually broke my pink phone. The pink phone that his whole audio thingy, he broke that. 2, he because he got caught cheating. And then 2, we got in this big argument. I literally pushed him not too hard. Like, bro, you're a midget. You can go flying. But I didn't push him that hard.
Yeah.
turn around. I'm standing up by the couch, and he turns around. He looks at me, and then he literally slaps me so hard. He starts laughing, and
Damn. Like we're talking about.
Yes, like one of those competitive slaps.
Okay.
And he laughs, and he's like, "Ah ha ha! Like you're funny. Like I could do it again. I can do it again. I wish I did it even harder." So from there, he was like, "Don't make me slap you." Like anytime we got into an altercation, he'll be like, "Don't make me slap you how I did last time." So that's why he has those bruises on his. I don't know if he showed you on the live because I know I saw that he showed it on the live. But he has bruises on his chest from me, from him choking. Y'all, he's put me in a headlock 3 or 4 times to the point I couldn't breathe. And I told him to let go, and he was like, "Are you done yet? Are you done yet?" I was like, "I'm done," because he didn't want me to get his phone. That's why he did it.
As bad as dropping a boss rootin' palm strike on your pregnant girl is, putting her in multiple headlocks is an absolute violation. Listen, I understand Stockholm Syndrome and trauma bonding as a concept, but how do you stay with a 5'1" gremlin who regularly goes Goldberg on you? Keep in mind, this girl he was reenacting Monday Night Raw with is the same girl he was crying over on stream so that his fans would make sad edits of it on TikTok. I don't think it gets any more pathetic than that. After telling her story with Josiah, she concludes it on how they broke up, which is that after an argument, he went to sleep downstairs. When she went downstairs, she found him asleep on the phone with a girl, and after going through his phone, she found he was regularly in contact with dozens of other girls, many of whom were minors, and kept hundreds of pictures and videos of all sorts of inappropriate things. Wow. However, she also confirms that his main interest with all of the girls he was in contact with was, as she puts it, pata pics. That one screenshotted DM about toes was not a one-off. It was his go-to. He tried to score those off every girl he spoke to, including his own girlfriend's sister.
I ain't gonna lie, like, I was with him, I get that. But then I found out he was talking to my own sister, falling asleep on the phone with my own sister, my stepsister. That's 15. Just turned 15. Okay. Yeah, no, you got me fucked up. We're not doing that.
With those allegations out of the way, she then goes on to confirm a few other things about him. For starters, as many people already speculated, he wasn't Salvadorian, and he used a makeup kit coloring pencil to paint his eyebrows and mustache on every single day. Lastly, it turns out that his grandma paid for his legal costs and let him use her car, which means he probably didn't have any of the money he pretended to have on TikTok. His criminal record, his gang membership, his relationships, his money, his age, his height, even his mustache and eyebrows. Literally everything about this guy was not real. After a decent amount of investigation and talking to the girls that had been targeted by Josiah, Poncho decided to confront him directly on a stream. In his defense, Josiah claimed that the girl Poncho spoke to had lied about her age, and then proceeded to show 3-week-old DMs between them where the downward arrow was clearly visible. Yet, he acted like those were their last communications. To make himself look even more stupid, after acting like conversations from 3 weeks before were recent, he went on to show DMs that were even older from late July, as if they were exchanges that happened later. In both of these screenshots, you can literally see the date on them, so I don't know what the point of him even trying was. When Poncho started bringing up all the teenage girls Josiah was asking for toe pics, there wasn't really any defense or response. He just alternated between claiming the screenshots were fake or saying that the girls had lied about their age. Perhaps the saddest and darkest part of this entire stream was when Josiah's current girlfriend showed up, saying that Josiah never hit her and that in actuality she fell. Listen, I'm not making any accusations here, but that sounds very dubious. Ultimately, Josiah was on thin ice, and it started affecting his online presence outside of Poncho's audience, as the next time he showed up on Lalo's stream, the mood had completely changed. Not only was the chat getting flooded with people calling him things like Dkane and Dkane, but Lalo himself also decided to call out Josiah.
All of that, you know, we did our research and went around town, went around real quick.
I've been showed my paperwork.
It spread like the coronavirus.
I've been showed my paperwork.
First thing I'm gonna talk about, how are you with a 16-year-old girl?
I'm not. What the heck? She's 20.
20. Can we see like some ID or something? Prove that?
When she comes upstairs.
No. Call her right now. Call her right now. Hey, that girl don't want to be on camera no more for a reason. Okay, that's the first thing I gotta... Listen.
He was just on camera.
Listen, that's the first thing I gotta say. You're with a 16-year-old girl and you're 23, okay? Second thing I gotta say, how are you gonna run up on your own grandparents and hit him up with a knife. How you gonna do that?
You want me to call him right now?
I mean, you can call him. Everything's changed now, probably. But I'm just saying, how you gonna run up on your own grandparents? No wonder you got assault charges.
Huh?
In a lot of ways, despite the traction he got with his TikTok posts, Lalo was Josiah's entry into this larger community. And by the looks of it, that bridge had been completely burned. Left trying to pick up the pieces of his already demolished reputation, 1 month later, a second ex-girlfriend interview hit the towers. As a matter of fact, it was the same girl who was arguing with Poncho during his stream with Josiah, and said she didn't get hit, but just fell. While she was still clearly trying to downplay the more egregious aspects of his behavior, she wasn't being successful. The first red flag to show up is her description of him suddenly hiding his phone from her, despite both of them having access to each other's phones up until that point. Of course, this made her suspicious, so when she managed to go through it, he apparently had amassed the contacts of over 900 girls on his phone. She also confirmed the allegations regarding Josiah's Pata preference, but said she wasn't aware of any minors he was in contact with outside of his ex. Lastly, she reiterated the same claims about his fake mustache and eyebrows, not only to Poncho, but also to Lalo.
I got another good question that a lot of people would love to know. Does he paint his eyebrows and his mustache?
Yes, he was wild, wet and wild. Not even on his glasses. Not even Sephora brand. I tried to put him on. I'm like, can you use Sephora? Or like, I have a better brand for you that won't smear, because that shit would get on me.
So far, her testimony was matching the other girls' claims to a T, but it differed as to how their relationship ended. As he started signaling that he didn't want to be together anymore, doing things like going to the club all the time by himself, she decided to get the jump on it and end the relationship. But this wasn't exactly tolerated by Josiah.
So then I just grabbed my stuff, and then let's just say I wasn't able to leave. Grandparents didn't allow me to leave either.
Wow.
And cops were involved. And it got bad. And yeah, it's just, I don't want to talk about it. It got kind of like, it just got bad. That's kind of what sparked the argument too, because like, I had a vape, like, you know, a pen, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he didn't like that I was, he wouldn't let me like smoke or anything.
Initially, she clams up on the topic of their breakup. She doesn't really want to talk about it. But slowly, she circles back around to clarify some stuff.
He was like, so after I told him I want to be done, he was like, okay, give me my stuff back. But back. And I was like, okay, like, I was like, no. So he was like, okay, so he took my phone. So then I'm like, oh, all right. So then I grabbed the purse and I put it around me and I put my keys in there. And I was like, all right, as long as I have my keys, I'm good.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I go to the closet and just start kind of packing my stuff. And then he comes behind me and then just like grabs me a little bit or whatever. And then I'm just trying to get out. And then I call for the grandparents' help. And they come, but they're like telling him like to chill out. But then he tells them that he's not trying to let me leave. And they're like, we'll give him the stuff back and then we'll let you leave. So I got mad and I'm like, what? Like,
wait, but it was a gift though, right, for you?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
besides the pettiness of trying to take a gift back, she also mentions that the promise ring Josiah got her was partially paid for by her own mom, meaning it wasn't really Josiah's to take back. To further bolster this story, she showed the police report to prove that the cops had really come, and provided a video of her halfway out of his window, asking for people outside to call the cops for her, because Josiah had her phone and didn't want to give it back.
So yes, I look embarrassing and I have to sit on a windowsill because he's not letting me leave and his grandparents aren't here. You tell them how you just laid your hands on me right there.
I did. Show me the bruises.
My fucking back is on.
But if you had bruises, wouldn't you want to show them? If you had bruises, wouldn't you want to show them to the camera? Because your legs look fine.
I wanted you to do it the right way and call the cops.
Your legs look fine.
You didn't grab my legs, but you grabbed me by my arm.
Oh, so if you had bruises, wouldn't you want to show them to the camera?
I would, but I'm not taking off my jacket because I have a bra on. I have a bra on.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Instead of recording me, you could call the cops and we can get this settled.
I'm not going to. I don't need the cops.
Damn.
Somebody call the cops.
Alright, yeah, don't be yelling like that.
Somebody call the cops. Somebody call the cops.
That's so scary.
After the cops got there, she managed to leave, and later on, she found out Josiah was back with his previous partner. Yes, the one who was 17. Despite having his name dragged through the mud and being relegated to a joke, Josiah didn't suffer any legal consequences for his actions. A month later, he did an interview where he talked about getting into an altercation with someone at the club and how he was backed up by his friends, I guess trying to rekindle his image as a tough guy. Later on in the year, however, this once again fell apart, as video evidence came out of him getting into a fist fight with girls and losing, getting his lip all busted in the process. The year of 2024 ended about as poorly as possible for Josiah, who had lost most of the momentum he had built up until June, but the worst was yet to come. Just 2 weeks into 2025, local newspapers reported on an incident in which Josiah was at a restaurant with another minor TikTok influencer by the name of Ash Trevino, when an unknown woman approached them and began arguing with Ash. The argument quickly escalated, the cops were called, and when they arrived, they found Josiah with an illegal firearm. The police report on the incident provided plenty of context, establishing that a group of 12 to 15 individuals had gone to the restaurant, allegedly with the intent to dine and dash due to a TikTok trend. The first conflict was actually between a waiter and a mutual acquaintance of Ash and Josiah by the name of Marco. When the waiter informed them that their food wouldn't be served because of their suspicions, Marco became aggressive and threatened to pull out a gun, at which point the waiter left. When the restaurant staff returned, the group was already gone, opting to go to a rainforest cafe instead. Unfortunately for them, the police had already been informed of the altercation and followed them to the rainforest cafe, expecting to find at least one person with a firearm. When they got there, they began asking all of the parties present if they had firearms on them, and it turned out that multiple of them did. They were all detained, with Marco being charged with unlawful carry under the age of 21 and terrorist threats. Meanwhile, Josiah's girlfriend, Desiree, claimed that the gun she was found in possession of actually belonged to Josiah. This led to him being charged with illegal possession of a modified firearm on top of violating his bond. However complete the report is insofar as how this situation went down, many of the details are filled in by people who were watching their streams leading up to the arrest. According to Reddit users, Desiree was waving the gun around in public, apparently in response to a local DJ who said he would pay bail to anyone that attacked Ash Trevino. From this information, it's possible that they knew and maybe even expected an altercation to happen, but thankfully the cops intervened before anything more serious could go down. In a call from jail, Josiah seemed pretty unconcerned and confident he would be out soon, but despite this being likely, his charges and his bond conditions were piling up, which didn't look good at all. Perhaps signaling that he didn't have enough money at his disposal to deal with his situation, an attorney eventually reviewed his case, only to find out he had a public defender.
Appointed attorney requested. All that money you made on TikTok, and in the end, we're paying for it. You know, the hey, I got all this money and this, that, the other, and blah, 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 blah. Bro has a public defender.
But probably the most depressing aspect of all of this is that Desiree, Josiah's girlfriend, genuinely seemed like she got roped into it by him. In a Facebook post, her stepmother came out to say, "I am Dkane's girlfriend's stepmother. My husband and I are upset about this whole situation. We even tried to warn her and tell her to stay away from him, but she is an adult and there wasn't much else we could do." The night this all happened, she texted my husband and told us what was going on. Next thing we knew, she wasn't responding, and we knew that she had been arrested. She then called us from jail and told us that Dkane or his people were going to bond her out. No one reached out to me, and that stupid grown woman Ash, that is in her 30s, should be taking care of her own kids instead of hanging out with a bunch of kids. Owned! We are currently posting her bond, so she will be out soon. And for those weirdos and trolls that don't believe me and think I would make up such embarrassing things, I will leave proof as well. She was innocent in the whole thing and was just hanging around people that obviously didn't care about her. Dkane always tried to control her, and I did add a video for proof as well. This is a nightmare for us, and I ask that you please put yourself in our place instead of judging. This is the video attached.
You do me a favor?
What?
Throw this charger. Alright, give me your phone too.
Why?
Cause I said. Don't ask me no why.
What?
Go. Go.
This kind of behavior gets particularly concerning when, in videos she posted to her TikTok, she says, "My kid is about to turn 17, and later on refers to her as literally a child. Clearly, this contradicts her saying that she's an adult earlier, but given Josiah has a proven preference for girls in that age range, it's not impossible. Besides publicly speaking about the arrest and subsequent legal proceedings, her stepmother also made a GoFundMe page for Desiree, with the description reading, "While she made some mistakes, the situation has escalated unfairly, resulting in her being charged with a third-degree felony." Fortunately for them, it seems Josiah faced the charges, although, like he had predicted, he was out just a little time later, bragging about what had happened. These people just don't learn at all. Of course, to no one's surprise, within a month or so of being released, he was recorded having his car stopped and searched. But it seemed like Josiah's media career still wasn't over, because a few weeks later, he appeared in a kind of Jubilee ripoff video called 20 Women versus 1 Edgar, where he basically did speed dating with 20 women. I don't know if I find it disturbing that people like Josiah still manage to work their way into content despite all the things they've done, or if this is some kind of poetic justice, because all this guy can still engage with is the trashiest, most pathetic kind of content imaginable. It's hard to say, but it's possible that this Jubilee copy video was recorded before whatever happened in that video of Josiah getting his car searched, as once again, he stopped posting to TikTok and only came back in June, doing whatever this is. It looks like the time he did in jail really changed him, or at least it really suited his needs. To make matters even more concerning, in June, he posted pictures of himself with his new girl, claiming she was pregnant and he would be a family man now. The comments on his post told a very different story, as girls were still claiming that he was in their DMs asking for feet pics to this day. Old habits die hard, I guess. And on that note, his habits soon got him arrested again, but this time for charges that were much more serious. Remember all of those claims from ex-girlfriends saying he spoke to minors and collected images and videos he got from them? Well, at around 3 p.m. on the 17th of July, he was arrested and charged with the second-degree felony of possession with intent to promote illegal material involving children. There's no understating how cooked this guy is. On its own, him having faked gang membership is enough to get the kind of treatment you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy when he goes to jail. But as if that wasn't bad enough, he's a 5'1" sparkly guy going to jail with charges for having illegal material involving minors. I can't even bring myself to imagine what kind of thing is going down in the Bexar County Jail, but frankly, it does remind me of the original Booty Bandit himself.
I seen somebody fought. A lot of times, fighting will get your butt took. People don't know it. When you fought,
what?
You know how people do it out here on the street trying to get some laugh stuff. Fought real loud, do it in prison. I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna say. They're gonna say, as soon as you fought, somebody gonna holler, oh, speak to me, old toothless one. Y'all hear that? They gonna say, man, that was loose. That was loose. That's juicy. That's like, well, whoever did that is juicy. Whoever did that is juicy.
At that point, I think I'd rather just get slimed out. Now, it's been a couple months since Josiah has been put in jail, and given he was already facing a few charges before this happened, it's possible he won't be seeing daylight as a free man anytime soon. It seems that no matter what the platform or the year is, there's always a guy like Dkane making content that's blatantly meant to lure in minors, and they always end up getting repeatedly tangled up in this kind of situation. Fortunately, at least in this case, it was dealt with legally, and as far as we can see, the problem has been put to rest permanently. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, please.
That was one weird ass video.